Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? This is Jam-Packed Tuesday. Here we go. Today I think I'm gonna riff on a little passage in the Course in Miracles I like. I've been using it for years because it seems to be quite clear and self-explanatory. So, of course, rooted in the idea of non-duality. Okay, so do you mind? I've done this before, haven't I, a couple of months ago? But it's all right, eh? Yes, no? Yeah. All right. I take that as a majority vote. So let's just go to it. It's on page 468 of the blue Course in Miracles. You don't need to go. I'll read it, the part. The first, it's like the third paragraph on the page. The first sentence, I don't know exactly what they're talking about. So I think it's a description of what you're not. So he says, yet we have heard a very similar description earlier, but it was not of you. Yeah. I mean, we could stop there really. And so can you hear me? Yeah. All right. But still, the strange idea, which it does accurately describe, you think is you. So it must have been a description of what you're not. So again, he's reinforcing this idea, or she or it, whatever. But still, this strange idea, what's that strange idea? You know, being a long-lasting, independent, separate thing. Really. You know, the doer, the thinker, the feeler, that. But this strange idea, which it does accurately describe, you think is you. That is the only way you get to it, is thinking. Yeah? The thinking suggests something, and then that something it suggests is taken as the thinker. Yeah? But there's no something that it's pointing to. There's no thinker. The thinker is derived by the claiming of the thoughts. You might as well be clear and see the direction, because the narrative is going from I'm the thinker and these are my thoughts, but the thinker itself is a thought. Yeah. Yeah. There's no you before the thoughts. There's a space, whatever, but there's no you before the thoughts. That's the thinker of it. Yeah. So he's saying here, but still the strange idea, which does accurately describe you think is you. So yeah. Now, if you saw it clearly, there's a thinking of a you. Yes, for sure. Yes, but that doesn't mean you're the you that they're thinking about. That's a strange conclusion. You notice there's a thinking of a you, and then suddenly you appear to be the conclusion of that there's the you that's been doing the thinking. Yeah. How do you get that? How do you get there's a you that's thinking from the thinking of a you? Really? How do you get there? You can't get it there from the thinking of a you. That's just the thinking of a you. How does it trigger a sense of being the you that's thought about? I don't, it's not a natural progression. It's totally separate. There's a thinking of a you, and then there's a feeling or a sense that happens there. I'm the you that's being thought about. Yeah? Don't you see the manufacturing of it? Yeah. I'm not saying you need to change anything. Just see what doesn't need to be changed. Because if you don't see it, you think there needs to be a lot of change. If you see it, there doesn't need to be any change whatsoever. You just see it's not you. So it goes on. But if you don't see that, you believe you've got to change it a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Who thinks there's too much thinking about you? You. Yeah. There isn't like a light goes on in the sky. There's too much thinking about you. No, there's thinking about you. But when it becomes something else is when it's you that is thought about. And I'm just saying that the thinking there's a you, or there a thinking about a you is happening. Yeah. But what is implied is not happening unless we buy it. Yeah. 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 The glove doesn't go on a fucking tirade unless there's a hand to animate it. Yes. The glove's just a glove is a glove is a glove. It's when the hand goes in, then the glove can get up to shit. Yeah. Yeah. So I may not get far today on these few paragraphs. So let's get to the next sentence. Reason. So the Course in Miracles in this translation uses the word reason. It sounds like to me wisdom. Yeah. So it would say reason would tell you that why isn't it? So if this is what it says, reason would tell you why isn't it? Why isn't wisdom telling you? Reason would tell you that the world you see, because you're not listening to it. You're listening to that head, yeah? You think the wisdom of the head is more interesting because it's more about you than the wisdom. Screw the wisdom, unless it's about me or you. Yeah, so reason would tell you that the world you see through eyes that are not yours. What is he describing? What is it describing there? This world, yeah? That's seen by these two eyeballs. Yeah, these two here, seemingly. They're the ones that facilitate the vision. They dictate, basically, the programming dictates what seems to be seen, but it's not the seeing, yeah? The seeing is that awareness. I think I heard up from the last meeting, consciousness, whatever. It's just not you as a physicality. Yeah. You are not conscious. If consciousness is all there is, it's not you. It's not Paul. Yeah. So here we go. So reason would tell you that the world you see through eyes that are not yours must make no sense to you. Now he's not talking not make no sense to Paul. Yeah. The eyes make a lot of sense to Paul because that's what they're interpreting life to, is this idea of Paul. Yeah. We'll get to it later. He says it very clearly about the brain interprets to the body of which it is a part. Yeah. So the brain's taking in this information. Let's just say it's coded light, so to speak, takes it in and manufactures a whole world and everything. Yes. But it's very selective and it has a very myopic view, and it has a large activity like blinders that keeps a lot out. Yeah. So you get like it's like a one size fits you. Yeah. You get this interpretation. And if you have a belief that you're not worthy, you'll see examples of you not being worthy. They may not even be happening, but you'll make them up. Yeah. The head will make them up. So here it says, reason would tell you that the world you see through eyes that are not yours must make no sense to you. So the question of the illness is if it makes a lot of sense to you. That's sort of the opposite diagnosis. If it makes a lot of sense to you, thank God you're not that you it's making sense to. Yeah. Thank God. To whom would seeing such as this, what seeing such as what? That's a dualistic seeing, yes? Which is the idea of non-duality, is negating this view, this dual view of subject, object, this and that, here and there, up and down, yeah, act, react, yeah. To whom would seeing such as this send back its messages? Yeah. So what is all this information targeting? Is it targeting you or is it targeting a you? Yeah. Is it reinforcing a you, or is it disclosing wisdom to you? Yeah. To whom would seeing such as this send back its messages? The answer from here, from the Course, is surely not you. Surely not you means, come on, give it a break. Yeah. Surely you're not going to go this far. You know what I mean? When someone's flipping out over like somebody, took the mayonnaise thing at the restaurant, the squeezer. Surely you're not going to get upset over that. So the word is beautiful. Surely not you. So basically, all this shit that we're assuming is all about us, coming from us, coming back to us, it's basically denying it or negating it, really. That's the beauty of this couple of paragraphs. I think it's pure negation of what we're not. Pure, yeah? It just goes on and on. So it goes, if this is not your vision, yeah? Oh, here he goes. Surely not you, whose sight is wholly independent of the eyes that look upon the world. I would say that sight is awareness, yes? So the sight he's speaking of isn't visions that happens through an eyes. It's like awareness, yeah? So, surely not you, whose sight is wholly independent of the eyes that look upon the world. Yeah. So as a great master Huang Po says, whatever can be perceived cannot be perceiving. Yes. So this thing that has eyes is not what's perceiving. Yeah. This is perceived. These eyes can be perceived. Yeah. So he immediately knocks you off the game board. So the boot, the fucking Eiffel Tower, it's all off. Yeah. Whatever can be perceived cannot be perceiving. Okay, so here, if this is not your vision, what can it show to you? It's not your vision. Yeah? That's the beauty of a failed system. A failed system can show you it's failed. When do we get it? Yeah? This should be a past tense. Not should be, but the possibility. This should be completely in the rearview mirror. Yeah. We should be clear at that. What has been relied upon? I'm not saying who's been relying on it. What has been relied upon is a failed system. How do you know? Look at the condition you find yourself in. Completely occupied by what's not happening, making mountains out of molehills, forgetting miracles in 20 minutes, but thinking you're always at the verge of entering a lifelong depression. I mean, it's insane. Yeah. The guy's incredible. It's insane. If you listen to its forecast, you're going to live in a raincoat. You're going to have only raincoats in your closet. Yeah. Even when it's sunny, it's probably not going to be tomorrow. It's freaking incredible. So here, if this is not your vision, what can it show to you? It's not your vision. I threw that in. It doesn't say there. It has a question mark. I'm answering it. Yeah. The brain cannot interpret what your vision sees. Yeah. This you would understand. What is that? That's making a clear distinction between what you are and what you're not. That's very clear distinction. The brain interprets to the body of which it is a part. So the brain is interpreting to the body of which it is a part. Yes? Or you could say its interpretation of what's happening is self-centered. Yes? So everything that it sees and collates and sucks in, it pertains it to you, a you that you're not. Yeah? But what it says you cannot understand, yet you have listened to it. And long and hard you try to understand its messages. I don't want to go into that part. What I want to go is skip a little. Denying what you are and firm in faith that you are something else. If you met anyone right now and say, hey, bro, you're in the denial of what you are, the person, what the hell? It'd be absolutely, what? Let me ponder that. No, I'm not denying what I am. I'm buying something for it. I'm eating something for it. I'm looking at it in a mirror. Yeah. I'm not denying it. I seem to be affirming it. Exactly. Because you're firm in faith that you are something else. Yeah. What? Yeah. That's the inference. That's the message. Yeah. That you're in the act of denying what you are. Well, how can you prove that? Well, because you're firm in faith that you are something else. What can you say? So, in one way, you can see firm in faith that you are something else is an act of denial of what you are. Yeah. Usually not to the thing that's firm in faith that it's something else. It very rarely gets that. But in fact, this faith that you are something else is the active denial of what you are. I'm not saying it. The Course in Miracles is saying it. I'm saying it because maybe you don't want to listen to me, but you may listen to the Course in Miracles. So, denying what you are and firm in faith that you are something else. What is this something else? Do you have any idea that what it could be? I think this something else has the ability to be perceived, yes, because it's a thing. Therefore, its whole story that you're what perceiving could be eradicated immediately because what can be perceived cannot be perceiving. Well, there goes your whole narrative in the head because the whole narrative about the perceived is that it's what's perceiving. Paul is the one who's conscious. Paul is the one who's doing and thinking and seeing and feeling and tasting and touching. Yet, in fact, that's not true. Yeah. That's the something else. So, denying what you are and firm in faith that you are something else, this something else that you have made to be yourself. Now, I don't like that way. Yeah. I don't believe there's something else you have made to be yourself. I think that something else makes itself to be the self. It implies that it's the self. I don't think you do. I think that's you swallowed the red pill, so to speak, because you think you're so that when it right when that thing is doing something, you believe you're doing it. I do not believe that you are firm in faith that you are something else. I believe that something else says you're firm in faith in being something else. I do. I don't see there's a you to be firm in faith or a you to deny. I don't. I see there's denying and firm in faith, but I don't think there's an object, a singularity that does that or doesn't do it. Yeah. I think it's a mental activity that says you're the one who's denying what you are, and you're the one who's firm in faith in something else. I just believe there's a denial and firm in faith. I don't believe there's a you involved in either of them. Yeah? Yeah. So this something else that you have made to be yourself becomes your sight. Yeah? So your sight now is self-centered. Yeah? Yeah. Everything is centered. How you picture everything, how all the information is collated, it's brought back to you as the foundation stone of the story. Yeah? You're the doer, the thinker, the feeler, the taster, the toucher. You as a body is what's existing. Yes? You're the one who's consciousness. Yeah. So this something else that you made to be yourself becomes your sight. Yeah. So what? There's a reliance on this sight, yes? There's a reliance on this view called self-centeredness. The more we rely on the view, the more we feel that which is being talked about, that which is being implied, that's what's being insinuated, yeah? So now we're in the act of taking ourselves to be this something else, and therefore we represent the active denial of what we are. Yeah. So what happens? Well, it must be this something else that sees, and as not you, explains its sight to you. Yeah. So you're sort of like an audience. Yeah. You're some kind of a space that this whole performance is trying to attract and convince and convey a story. Yeah. So it's almost as if it's asking the light to become identified with the picture that's appearing on the film. Yeah. The story. And so it's like the example of the small brownie camera that sucks with the plastic lens, and the beautiful big camera looks through it. And while looking through it, it forgets that it's the big camera. So now it now has adopted the brownie's sight as its sight. Yes? It's made this something else to be itself. So without knowing it, the camera has fallen into this thing that this something else called the brownie is what I am, even though what it is has not changed. It's still the huge camera. It still has panoramic view. It still has HD, but it's living as if it doesn't. Yeah. And it may, even by taking this brownie to be itself, it may look for itself as a goal for the brownie to try to acquire, yeah, or to attain, which is insane, really. So now the big camera completely forgets that it's the big camera and starts looking for itself as the little camera, using the big camera the whole time. So what would happen? What would the message be in that situation? Do I want to talk to the brownie about the possibility it could one day, if it filled a lot of requirements, it could become that huge great camera? Or would I want to talk to the great camera about the brownie? Which one? Would I want to keep talking to the brownie about it really is this big camera? It really, if it's not there now, it will be someday. Or should I just bypass that and talk to the big camera about the brownie instead of the brownie about the big camera? Yeah, which way? Yes. So we want to speak to what we are about what we're not. We don't want to keep talking to the brownie, because it's going to make the life of the brownie even heavier when it keeps dreaming it could one day become, but I'm just such a drag. I've chosen to be a brownie, which hasn't been the case, because the big camera, though looking through the brownie, has not become the brownie. It has never been the brownie. It will never be the brownie. It's just seeing life through the lens of the brownie. Yes? So it's taking how the brownie sees things as how it sees things. It's taking all the blindness the brownie has, the blindness it has. Is there any solution to that? Yes, you're not the brownie. Yeah. So here, it must be this something else that sees and as not you explains its sight to you. Your vision, what you are, would of course render this quite unnecessary. Yeah. So the message landing in the target, which is what you are, makes a lot of this bullshit unnecessary. Yeah? You're not going to make an attempt to try to arrive at the big camera as the brownie. You're going to realize you're not the brownie, hence the big camera. Yeah? So it must be this something else that sees and as not you explains its sight to you. Your vision would of course render this quite unnecessary. Your vision, our vision, is the solution. Yeah? The solution is not to try to arrive at our vision through the brownie camera. The solution is not to try to understand what we are by that something else that we're not. Yeah. The more you feed the something else that you're not information about what you are, it just gets that something else fatter and fatter. It's chock full of knowledge about what it is, held as what you're not. So in a way, that knowledge has no value except to fail you, which it does, and therefore you'll be extracted from that fucking acquiring or seeking for knowledge. You realize it's like making a lot of money and it's getting moved to a different account, like an offshore account. Yeah. You're not reaping the benefits from it. So here he goes. Yet if your eyes are closed, which I believe is the act of being identified as self, is the eyes are being closed. Yeah. That awareness that we are is now being seemingly forgotten. And now when those eyes are closed, then the mental seeing takes over the complete story. Really. So if your eyes are closed and you have called upon this thing, you have no reason not to listen, nor to suspect that what it tells you is not true. Yeah? Isn't that the condition we were in for years? We were listening to the head, and we just had an assumption. Why would it be lying to me all fucking day? It's me. Yeah? I would think it would be looking out for me if it's me. And then it has a certain defense against all investigation, because there's a sense that this is the only game in town. I've got to rely on me. I can't rely on anyone else. I can't rely on this. I can't rely on that. And then there's a wedding with this reliance, and then there's a living as if you're that something else. To the point, there's a point where the head does not want to have it revealed. It's too invested in the story. Yeah? Who wants to do 20 years of meditation and find out it didn't do a fucking thing? I mean, that's freaking scary. If there's become an identification as being a great meditator, and then, you're seen like the emperor with no clothes, it's quite threatening to what you're not, really. That's the beautiful news. Yeah. So, yeah. Thanks. I think this is a very good paragraph of pure negation of that something else that has been made to appear to be us. Yes? I'm not saying you and me made it. Yeah? But basically, when it states the idea that it is, it says it was, and it's gonna be. Yeah. So when the self appears, it says it's been here for quite a while, and it's gonna be here for quite a while. Yes? Yeah. So there you go. I think it's pretty clear. There's an activity going on. From one point of view, it's seen as an act of denial of what you are. From the other point of view, it's firm in faith in this something else that you've made to be yourself. Yeah? Yeah. So, yeah. I think the message stands on its own. You just keep putting it out there. Yeah. If you can find a hole in it, great. But obviously, it's not wasting any more time trying to describe the indescribable. Let's just describe the describable and see if you're that or not. Yeah? And if you're not, all bets are off, really. All those things you feel that you would have been held by for the rest of your life because you did something when you were 11 and, there's no forgiveness ever going to be available. If that's not you, you lose interest in the whole freaking story. Yeah. That which was bound was the binding mechanism, was the interest and attention. It wasn't the story. All the convictions are easily null and voided. Yeah, they're held in place by you being the doer, you being the thinker, you being the feeler, you being the taster. If you're not that, man, there's just untold possibilities of relief. And I mean now relief. Relief as a basic condition, not as a future goal. Yeah. So, anyone have any questions or anything? This is the epitome of pure satsang. No questions. I love it.
Paul?
Yes, I'm
Oh,
here.
you heard me. I didn't know whether you heard me. When you ask that question, it feels to me like there's a million answers here and I don't know which one to pick. What's my question? My life is my question, right? I fully agree that my thinking mind is creating me, Inca, right? And I'm working towards not being that. And or saying, well, maybe I say it backwards, but the enlightened self or whatever, the enlightened self has shed Inca. And so when you ask me, what question do I have? I can't even there's so many, I can't formulate them. Does that make any sense to you?
Yes, great.
And I also know
it's a sign of losing interest. So the questions are there and you're not even formulating them anymore. That's a very good sign.
Oh, I didn't. Good, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and if you're working towards not being that, you've already been successful. You're not that. No one fails in the pursuit of not being that, except what you're not.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm joking, but it's true. All
No,
of us, we're hoping to be successful in a future point. That's already been succeeded. You're already successful. You're not that. You're
well,
not going
there's
to
a
become
point, right? It's like
what?
something turns on a dime, right? There's a
Yeah.
moment when I realized I'm not that.
Yeah, there you go.
And
That moment spans eternities.
right.
You
Thank you.
just don't think so,
Yeah.
but that moment spans eternities. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Oops.
Hey, Paul, I got a question.
All right.
On the topic of meditation, and I'm not defending practices or anything like that. It's just, it seems to me that, is there a version of meditation that's like us sitting there and like looking at what we're not, in a sense, sitting there and seeing our thoughts and our feelings and seeing that we're not that?
Yeah, that would be the self-inquiry. But you can do that laying down, sitting, slouching.
Sure, but
Yeah.
sometimes it feels like it's harder to do that in the day-to-day because we get mixed up in what we're not, rather than like shining a light on it directly. Does it seem that way to you? Or...
Yes, but the power of satsang You know how sometimes things that aren't true have a huge influence? Yeah. Well, you can't imagine when you fall upon something that is true, the influence that it has. Yeah. The influence of what's not true has to constantly be replenished and reinforced and suggested and implied and insinuated. But what's true stands in and of itself, in and of its own. Yeah. It doesn't do anything. So, like this teacher Ramesh Balsekar said to me one day, years and years ago, do you have a place to live? And I said, yeah. He says, all right, well, when you go to work, do you forget you have a place to live? And I say, no, I know I have a place to live. Even if you stay overtime, you think if you worked longer that you'd forget? No, I feel like I know I have a place to live when I have a place to live. Yes? All right. So when at work, do you keep saying, I have a place to live, I have the place to live? No. I'm doing whatever's happening at work, but there's a faith that I have a house. I have a place to live. Yeah. I don't need to remember it because it's not forgotten in a sense. Yeah. Going to work doesn't ensure that I forget that I have a home. I don't have to stay in the home all the time to know I have a home. I can be everywhere else knowing I have a home. Yeah. This is sort of like the idea of the impersonal presence and then the presence of me or Kerry or someone. Yeah. And let's call that the personal presence, but it isn't. It's always the impersonal presence, but there's a story that it's a personal presence. Yeah. So that personal presence thinks it has to remember it has a home. It has to remember of the impersonal presence for it to seem to be available to it. But it is that which it wants to remember. So do you see? This has to do with firm in faith in not the something else that's been made to be yourself, but firm in faith in what you are. Yeah? The firm in faith is there. The firm in faith can be in something else that has been made to be yourself, or the firm in faith is in the truth, let's say. Yeah? Now look at how much in time and through tons of evidence to the contrary, the selfing continues to keep implying it's a self, yes? It's pretty awesome in a way. But what do you think what you are is? It's always available at all times with no requirement necessary to reinforce it or remember anything. It is, yeah? That's quite influential. And if there's a movement of faith and that faith is firm in this idea, it's going to give you a sense of lightness while you're traveling through all your jobs and circumstances and situations that are constantly being used to reinforce this idea of being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. You're going to have something that will outweather it, will outlast it, yes? There'll be a sense, and to me, that can come about through satsang. You hit a point where it's like an unspoken yes. And then the faith leaves the something else, yeah? And now the faith rests in something that's reliable, which is a fact, what you are. Yeah, you don't think in a short amount or some amount of time it's going to override the influence of the something else that has been made to be yourself. Of course it is. How can it not? How can the moon stand there claiming it's the sun when the sun rises? Yes. All is revealed when the sun rises. The moon usually disappears because at night the moon is reflecting the sunlight. It's not generating any light in and of itself. Yes. Does that just come to be true, or is it always true? It's always been true. This is what we're speaking of by talking about what we're not. What you are is always true. Yeah. And if the faith that's going into something else could be directed, hopefully through satsang, to that, you're going to see, yeah, the landscape may not change at all, but there'll be a huge change. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
You won't believe the moon is the sun when only the moon is out. Yeah. So when you're in a busy day and you're thinking it's all about you, there's still a firm in faith in that which you truly are, not the something else that's being made or implied to be yourself. Yeah. It's a shift. And I don't think there's much needed really, because it's, in sense, it's always so already. So, yeah, if there can be a loss of interest and that's something else that has been implied to be you, then obviously there'll be an interest growing in what? Find out. Yeah. 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 I have faith in the message. After satsang, I never did anything after that, to tell you the truth. Yeah. All the stuff I did was before satsang. At the time of satsang, all I did was go to satsang. And I didn't go to satsang around the clock. I went to satsang, and then things would be heard, and then I could feel the deck of cards reshuffled, and I guess I had faith in the dealer of the card game finally. I don't know, but I have an ability, and I believe we all do, to be convinced. And I was convinced of the fallacy of this idea of being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. Now, that programming still feels like it's a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. Yeah. I'm not in the business of trying to change that, because it's really not possible. It's programmed. Yeah. But I am not of that. Yes. Yes. So there can be a living as Paul, not of Paul. Yes. There can be a story as Paul, but it is not of Paul. Yeah. Yeah. So something's going on in time, and then there's something that's always going on, or you would say nothing going on in timelessness. Yeah. I believe timelessness intersects every moment of time. It's what allows time to be entertained, is timelessness. Yeah. So, yeah. So, yes, you feel like this, and it's heavy and this and that. And after all the hand wringing and shit like that, sooner or later, even if it's when you go to bed, you return that from there which you never left. Once again, how many times do you have to touch the base to know that it's home plate? You know, I mean, seriously. I don't know. So it has all, if I could share about it, I have a very interesting ideas about faith. To me, it's like a force like gravity or dark matter. And faith it manifests by the vehicle it's put in. So if there's faith in the thought system, yeah, the taking of this place to be super real is going to be generated. Yeah. And the feeling, the sense of self is going to feel so true that there'll be no denial of it. Yeah. And the system will just hunker down in the system. And then, yeah. But that's all based on faith. That same faith would go into, let's say, what's before thought, then you would have a day of thought and you would travel lighter through it. Yeah. You would have an ease and comfort, because you wouldn't be holding thoughts as the thinker. You'd be holding thoughts like the sky holds clouds. Yeah. And then when the thoughts did something and the moisture coagulated and became a dark cloud, that dark cloud moves and disappears. Yes. And there's tons of skillful means to deal with an unruly dark cloud. But when do you come to the point where you stop calling yourself a dark cloud? Yeah. You're the sky that it's appearing in. Yeah. If it needs to be addressed, there'll be an addressing of it. If it doesn't, it won't be. Yeah. Your dictates of response isn't coming from the cloud, it's coming from the sky. Yeah. Yeah. You'll render unto Caesar's what's Caesar's. Yeah. I rendered a cushion to my ass. Yeah. Because my ass has been sitting here today, because I had another talk, and the ass is a skinny one, and it fucking doesn't have a cushion of its own, so I got to make sure, this is one of my jobs, to put a cushion in there. Yeah. Yeah. Or there'd be so much movement, somebody here may think I'm having a Kundalini event when it's just a fucking, sore ass. Yeah. So this is what happens. Do I think I am an ass? No. Do I think the ass deserves a cushion? Yes. Yeah. How does the day go? Better. What a simple answer. That's a great solution, because I have lots of cushions here. It's fantastic. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. So firm in faith in this something else that has made itself to be us. Yeah. The whole thing changes with the faith, doesn't it? If you were not firm in faith in it, it'd be a whole different conditions. So just tell the truth of what you find. Yeah. Something will do the rest. You want to call it you, I don't see it as that, but seeing is the starting point. You just see selfing as an activity instead of thinking you're the one that's doing it, because you're not. The selfing is what's implying there's a you, and then a story arises, you're doing the selfing. No, there is no you doing anything. Yeah, it's mechanical. Yes. The mental state becoming conscious of something, claims it, and puts it into its storyline. Yeah.
Hey, Paul.
Yes.
Bill has his hand up.
All right, Bill.
Hi, Paul. Hey, I don't know. This isn't so much a question, more like something that just kind of blows my mind a little bit about. I understand. I've studied a course for a lot of years, and everything you said, like having faith in something I'm not, and all through there, it basically the course it says, it's you've forgotten who you are and you're being something you're not. And for years, I kind of saw that as saying, what my interpretation of it, I guess, was that like something went wrong, or else that wouldn't be happening. It's some kind of error in the universe, and that's why I forgot what I am. And now it's just a matter of remembering. And then, but what is kind of blowing my mind a little bit is that, well, you mentioned Ramesh Balsekar, and reading his stuff. I love a term that the way he talks about it, and he uses the phrase of divine hypnosis. Like all that stuff of not knowing, like mistaking myself for something that I'm not, is all part of a plan that was supposed to be, and I kind of interpret when I used to read, I guess just because I was interpreting it from that self with guilt, that something happened that shouldn't have happened. And that's why I have to like undo this mistake now. I don't know. You understand what I'm saying? But or can you talk on that for just a minute? Like it's all part of a divine, all supposed to have been just.
Well, you don't have to undo it. Yes. Yeah. The idea of undoing it means somehow you did something towards it and you haven't. Yes. So, yeah. Yes. See, whatever incites a movement in us sets off a story. Yeah. So it's like, well, you say there's a great party, but when you arrive there, it sucks. Yeah. So, and you can't get to the party from where you're thinking other than by arriving. Yes. So what's one to do? You've got to recognize you're not this. Yeah. Stop relying on it. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to get, and you're not going to get it anyway. I mean, I don't know how many people you probably heard them say that, yet this stubborn hope that somehow I'm going to experience my own absence and weather that experience and still be here it's not true. You're not going to get it. This is not an experience for you to have and for you not to have. Yeah. We're just talking about a fact. Yeah. If that fact brings up into stark contrast a lot of misunderstandings, the greatest one that there's a you far out, that's its value. Yeah. And so now you can travel lighter. And isn't that what you wanted all along? Yeah. But you can't deliver that. You cannot accomplish that. If you feel like you've achieved it, you live with a fear of losing it. It doesn't work. Yeah. So now the great wisdom of no escape is there's nowhere to escape to or from, really. Yeah, so yeah, I know I never really studied the Course much. I don't think I've ever really studied anything much. I've been introduced to stuff and some stuff came in and shit downloaded and then it was time to move on. Yeah. To the point where I stopped moving at all. That's how it went. Yeah. I think there's a lot of living information in certain books. Yeah. You may not get out of, you may get more out of one sentence than the whole fucking thing. Yeah. If it triggers an aha, and then that aha sets off an avalanche. Yeah. Yeah. And I feel, what can a savior show you that it can't save? Yeah. Why is that? Because there's no one to be saved. Yeah. 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 So I'm happy to see you, Bill. And yeah, whatever interpretation you had at the moment had its value in the moment. Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't until non-duality came up and I really saw non-duality hit me. And I saw, or whatever, something happened. And then I understood everything I had been reading for years in A Course in Miracles that made no sense to me before. And the non-duality person that came through to me, that hit me, isn't even A Course in Miracles, has no familiarity with it. That's what blew my mind, about like, yeah. So it was all supposed to happen just that way.
Well, yeah, vision gives you sight to see what's in the book. Yes.
When it hits, it's just like, it really is. It makes me laugh a lot. It's just, it cracked me up when it finally hit. Like, oh my, it's like getting the divine joke or something like that of the whole journey, or whatever.
Well, you're gonna be the butt, it continues. Yeah. Yeah. Being the butt of the joke continues quite a while.
I could take it.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah. I'm happy to see everybody here.
We have 4 minutes left, Paul. Do you want to say goodbye?
Yes, I do. First of all, I want to thank Saina for being a great hostess. I want to thank Rhoda for being Rhoda. She keeps me on the straight and narrow. I want to let you know we're going to have a retreat through Awakening Together in June, which is going to be one hell of a week. Yes, I feel. Yeah. Some certain people may just spontaneously combust. It will be nice. Yes. We may even have a transcendence that can be captured in a Zoom meeting. So you can look that up. I'm hoping enough people show up that it makes it worthwhile for the sanctuary, whatever. And so I'll try to start advertising it a little. So June, all the information. I don't know if it's on our site. We've had the guy who's done the website has moved, so we've had a little bit of a lack of information going out. But he's establishing where he is now, Mike. So that will be up there through Zen Bitch Slap. And then we got, we're here all week, different venues. Nothing new in non-duality. So, all right. So nice, Sina. Thank you for everything. Connie, always a pleasure. Connie, I think, fell asleep. That's great. Yeah. The best way is through osmosis, really. So, Bill, that's the obstruction has gone asleep. Now you can really get to the message. Nice to see you, Bill, again. We got Kathleen. I think it's G. Nice to see you, Kathleen. Eileen, homegirl from Long Island. There she is. She's chilling. One of my favorite little characters, Sky. Yes, here she is. She bounces around. You never know what she's up to. Yeah. But thank you for blessing us with your presence today. And Samar, I think I said it right, yes? Samner? Thank you for your donation, bro. And thank you for your interest and attention. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yes, we got Karen. Nice to see you, Karen, down there. The lovely glasses. Kerry, he's in Hawaii. He treated me very well there. That was he was a very nice host for us in Hawaii. Yeah. I don't have a bad thing to say about him, especially when he's here. I usually talk trash later. We got Inca. Yes. Yes, honey. That deep exhale is good. Yes. Yes, you're on the train. You can put the baggage down. Yeah. It's not going anywhere. Rhoda, thank you. Carol L. Nice to meet you, Carol. Nice to see you. Jacqueline's with the wood ceiling. There she is. I'm looking forward to meeting some of these people live in June. Yes. Yeah. George has a trip. I like George too. And then we got donate here. It's back. Yes. Never asked a question. Just how much. That's what it says. How much? We got Zoe B. I think I'm gonna have darshan of Zoe this weekend. She's coming. I won't name who she's coming to see in Northern California, but one of the people is me. Oh, there she is. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. We got Susan K. She's my latte lady. She affords me a lot of lattes. Thank you, Susan. One of my favorite things. Who is this? Ann B. Ann B's got a handful of people there. Wow. Tawanda. I don't know who that is. I don't see a picture. I think that's it. I can't even move the screen right now. Well, whatever. If I missed you, I haven't really. I haven't missed you. I just say goodbye. Thanks, everyone. We'll be here. Just go to Zen Bitch Slap on events. Has all the. If you're interested, we have 2 talks on recovery and 3 talks, I think, on non-duality a week. So, yeah. Thank you. See everybody. Thanks.